Hey, all you people out there in Radioland. Wait, is it Radioland? It's not, is it? Is it podcast? No, I'm not. We're not calling it that. I hate that. Anyway, thanks for checking out our weird little podcast. We have a pretty good show lined up for you today. Talk a little World Series, little NBA, and a ton of football. We had a little bit of audio issues with the mics. They're new mics, but we're working on it. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me. Let's start the show. All right, and welcome to the first ever episode of Stone Sports. I am your host, Bert, a.k.a. Bertleby, a.k.a. the Gutter Boy, a.k.a. Bert Spacklin. I have my host with me, as always, Double. Say hello, Dubs.
Hello.
You like Bert Spacklin?
Yeah, got me. It got me off
You
guard.
just kept going on these nicknames.
I know. I was like ready to say what I was gonna say, and then you were just like fucking kept going. I was like,
And
Throwing
my
me
other
off.
host,
Ya
whose
boy.
voice you've already heard, your boy, Meech. Say what up, Meech.
What up?
All right, so actually, before we get to the sports, I did have one thing I wanted to just kind of throw out here. So I'm a year late on this, but I finally weighed in on the chicken sandwich war. I had the Popeyes chicken sandwich, and it's way better than Chick-fil-A. Just wanted to throw that out there for you.
Hands down. Hands
Yeah,
down.
it's so good, dude. Like, I only had the spicy one, so like the regular one could be lacking, but that spicy chicken sandwich is like,
No.
damn, baby, you need to chill.
Chick-fil-A's only good sandwiches are spicy sandwich, so
I've-
even if you only had the spices, you're not missing anything.
I have
Yeah.
absolutely zero input on this.
Okay, and moving on to the first topic of the day, which I guess is the World Series, which, Meech, you want to take it away, bro?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, the Dodgers wrapped up victory against the Rays, and it was victorious. It was great. Controversial decision. I mean, it's 2 weeks ago. You don't want to jump
Controversial.
back in too much, but Snell being pulled. Every fan had to be thinking, "What the actual fuck?" when that happened, because
I'm not a
treated it
fan, and
as a
I was
victory.
thinking that.
I mean, I
So-
called double. I said, "Hey, we just won the game. They took Snell out."
9 strikeouts, 2 hits through 5 and a third, and you pull the guy. He was cutting through the top half of your order. Even Mookie said it after the game.
Oh, they were like 1 for 17 with 11 strikeouts against him. It's a joke that you take that guy out, but hey, led to us winning World Series, ending a 32-year-old drought, and couldn't be happier.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
go
late
ahead, sorry,
decision
Double.
on, like decisions, it was a decision from 2020 Manager of the Year, Kevin Cash. An absolute joke. How do you give him the Manager of the Year after seeing that decision?
They learned the same thing, and I saw a lot of parallels from the Rays and the old Dodgers. They used a lot of metrics that work during the year in the playoffs, and they just don't work as well. Your bullpen's overused, your starters can go longer. I just don't understand the thinking, but it felt all too similar to me, a Dodger fan who has seen the Dodgers go to 3 of the last 4 and lose. So, I mean, it's just you use metrics that are supposed to be meant for the regular season in the postseason, and there's just so many more different variables in the postseason.
Yeah, and
And-
like another thing that was like weird too is like I saw a stat that was like apparently like Mookie was at an all-time low against left-handed pitchers for this season. So it's like I don't know why they pulled him, because it's just like that's
And as soon as they did, the top of the order very quickly jumped on Anderson and came in to relieve Snell.
Yeah, and I think he had given up runs in all of his appearances. Like, there's
he was
just no
great
way
during
you
the year, but playoff,
Yeah.
like you said, there's so many more factors going into it.
You mentioned that Kevin Cash got Manager of the Year. And I
Mattingly
do
got
think
for
he
the NL
deserved it.
too.
I just think you announce these things after the season, because who pays attention to any of the stuff after the World Series? It's like that closes the sport. You're on to the next one.
Right. And like they did the Gold Glove Awards, the ceremony on the same night as election night. Like it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how much do you not want people to see who the Gold Gloves are? Like, give me a break.
you're
So
a dying like everyone claims you're a dying sport. Let's kill it more.
Yeah, I mean they do it so that they can stretch out content to throw on MLB Network, but it's just like
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
I
cares.
get
like
that, but how many
off-season
people are
content.
watching MLB Network?
Yeah, I mean every sport does it. Like the NHL does it. Like everyone does that shit. But it's like Meech said. It's just off-season content for them. Like I think its only real purpose.
Oh, it is. It is
Some
for
of
sure.
my favorite off-season content as far as but Alex Cora getting rehired. Red Sox went out, got their guy back, went down
Yeah,
to Puerto
why?
Rico to woo them themselves. Kane Bloom went down there, went down to Puerto Rico to make sure Alex Cora came back to Boston. He is Bloom's guy, and we're gonna move forward with Cora and Bloom. Couldn't be more excited.
Let me ask you that. Why fire the fucking guy? Like
You
if
had
you're
to.
just going
Yeah,
to
that's a
rehire him,
relevant point.
the optics
Image.
don't look better. It doesn't look better.
It doesn't, but I think at the time they just had no other choice but to, because Hinch got fired, Beltran got fired. They just felt like they had to.
I would have said we're standing by our guy. We've investigated the situation, found out we're all good here, and
I
we're gonna
agree
move
that
forward with
too,
our
but
guy.
the only reason that like seems better is because like for Cora's benefit, you see that his team had his back. But if they went out and got Cora back anyway, then he clearly didn't care that much.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's pointless. Anyway, let's move on from Boston because Jesus. La Russa was also hired as the Chicago White Sox new manager, replacing Rick Renteria again, and in another Chicago franchise. They've moved on from Rick Renteria right before they're basically on the cusp to that next step, the playoffs, the World Series, etc.
So
You feel bad for Rick Renteria a little bit there.
does he get another job after this?
Oh, he'll for sure get a job. He's done
Yeah.
great in both spots, and then they moved on for him for reasons that they just didn't feel like he was the right guy. But this guy is a manager in the MLB. I definitely feel bad for him. He needs a young team. He can definitely communicate, motivate with a young, good team. And I think anyone that's looking for a manager that has a young core should definitely look at him. I mean,
he proved that with the White Sox. They went out and traded all of their star players, like when they traded Sale from Moncada to us, and he put together a young core and worked with them. And like you said, they're right on the cusp.
Yeah, and he just keeps getting fired. So La Russa's the guy there. A lot of controversy as to that. Is he too old? I don't know how old Rick Renteria is, but I feel like they should be around the same age.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it.
I want to say he's late 50s, early 60s, somewhere around there. But I can't remember. I remember Googling.
Hold, please. I'm on it.
I wanted to see where else he had been like before both Chicago stops.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of it was analytics, and like he was the original analytics guy. He was the guy that brought in a lefty to face a lefty, would make a game unbearable with how many times he went to the damn bullpen. So he's in that respect, he has it locked down. I feel like he's definitely there.
He's 58, by the way.
Yeah, all right.
And La Russa's 70.
I don't know. I'll check. Hold up.
Close to it if he's not.
Yeah, I think he's like 68, 70. But so, I mean, I guess there is that. Will he be able to connect with these players? Especially, you feel like he kind of left St. Louis. I mean, he had been there a while, but it feels like they were so ready to move on to Matheny at the end of his
tenure. Yeah, it did
so
feel like that. Like they're just done with.
Whoa, he's fucking 76.
Okay,
really?
So 76.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit of difference, actually. So
do we know how long
difference.
the deal was off the top of our heads?
No, I don't.
I believe it's a 5-year deal.
Yeah, that's.
Jeez.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So La Russa's hired there. So I mean, there's that. We'll see what he's gonna do with these players. But he is a Hall of Famer. At the end of the day, you can't take that away from him.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And he's been around.
AJ Hinch
forever.
gets the job in Detroit. Does anyone care? Like,
absolutely
no.
I don't care about the Tigers.
Should I care? Is there a reason why I should care?
They haven't shown one.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in a perpetual state of rebuilding ever since Dombrowski left.
They've been rebuilding, yeah, like you said, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dombrowski, he is not going to be a candidate for any of the GM openings. The other day I saw.
I think he has his eye on something else. I think I saw something on Baseball Network, MLB Network, that he was going to do something else, but I don't really know too much about what I saw. So
I could care less, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's an expansion team. that he's gonna work on. But anyway,
He won't be going to the Mets, but who will be, Birdie?
Yeah.
I was waiting
Yeah.
for you guys to bring this up.
There it is.
I'm so excited, and I have so much to say. I mean, it's just nice to have okay, so like right from jump, like he's like, "Yep, I bought the team," and they're like, it's going to take 10 days to finalize the deal. And he basically, and obviously I'm using more colorful language than he would have used, but he basically was like, no, motherfucker, this is going to take like 4 days because I want to go out and buy some fucking free agents, which like just to hear a Mets owner say that alone is like
Such a change of tune.
it is a beacon of hope and light. Like it is just ridiculously wonderful. And then, he comes out and says like, we're going to restructure the entire front office. We're going to beef up the analytics department, which like, analytics isn't everything, but like they definitely needed a beef up there. And yeah. And then, like a couple days later, like here you are. And now they need a new GM. I mean, they've got a couple people who are like scouts. I can't remember their names. I think you know who they are, right? Yeah.
So Bobby Heck is a special
Right.
assistant at Tampa Bay right now. He's considered their best scout,
And I
has
think
been
he
for a
was
while.
for like the A's at some point too, right? Or was it the
Oh,
Astros? It was somebody.
That was Billy Owens. Billy
Yeah,
Owens,
Billy
was with
Owens,
the A's
yeah,
for
yeah.
a really long time. He spent the last 2 years as assistant GM, and
I mean, that makes
people
sense to
close
me.
people
you know?
close to Alderson have said that he's a favorite for the job. Another one is Chris Young, and he's currently the senior VP of on-field operations for the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
He used to pitch Padres back in the day. Meech.
he was also a Dodger.
Beautiful. He's also rumored to be in the front for candidate.
Yeah, I
Should
mean,
we-
like it makes sense to
player.
me if you get a scout, but it's I don't know, like I'm sorry, but as a Mets fan, it's hard to be optimistic. It's easy to be excited, but it's hard to be optimistic. Does that make sense? Like they're two
That sounds
separate
like it.
feelings to me. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm sure it is nice to see, though, like you said, that Cohen seems like he's ready to be aggressive, and you guys already have
exactly.
pieces there that if he goes out and gets some big time free agents or gets some good guys drafted, that you guys could be competing for a while.
Right, and it's like that's the thing. It's like all the other stuff, like cool, yeah, new GM, cool. You want to get a new like coach, cool. You want to do whatever, cool. But like going out and like spending money on free agents and shit, like that to me
Right.
is the biggest thing because that's just such a massive change from everything else we know. So
Fair.
let's go Mets, bro. That's like really all I have to say about that, to be honest with you. But
Definitely. I mean,
Couple
I know
other
when
openings
McCourt sold the Dodgers, there was definitely a sense of optimism.
optimism.
Yeah.
Division.
That you saw in Dodger fans. But so the Mets now one of the 4 open positions for GM as well. You have the Angels, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Marlins all looking for GMs.
Yeah, which
And the
definitely
Angels
complicates
interviewed-
it a little bit.
It does, and the Angels interviewed like 20 people for that position already.
Yeah, I think
I
it was
mean,
like
they've been
14
interviewing
or
people
something like
for-
that. It's
I
a
saw
lot.
it was over 20 now.
I think you should
Oh
do
my
that
God.
though, because like it's kind of like free information. You know what I mean? Like you kind of just get like free strategies, or you get
Yes.
to see how other people's brains work. You know what I mean? Like I don't
So
really
my
think there's a
thought on the
problem with
matter-
that.
My thought on the matter is you should have an idea of who you're gonna hire. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, it's not even like you've heard reports that they're super serious on any of those 20 candidates. It's just you keep hearing that they keep bringing people in and bringing people in and bringing people in, but they're not.
Right,
You don't hear that they're getting closer to it with anyone.
right.
I mean, you fire a GM after you nix his off-season deal of getting Jock and Ross Stripling for essentially nothing, and then you don't have any idea who you're replacing him. You're just like, he had to get out of the building. He was the worst. You have no idea who you're talking about, like to replace him now, and it's just like, okay, I guess that's fine. So, I mean, you have the Angels, the Mets, Phillies, and the Marlins all looking for new. The Marlins situation is interesting because it just was basically a disagreement in price that they were at. They just didn't agree to terms on how much he should get paid, it seemed like.
Yeah, I didn't even hear much about that.
Yeah, me neither, to be completely honest with you. But that's interesting. I mean, you feel like
Wait,
you
so-
come up with something, right? Like you could arbitrate in some way and get a deal done. But maybe they just really didn't want a deal done and kind of just like You know what I mean? Like
That's
let
what they
it
just
die.
said. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
possible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you chose this guy to rebuild your team. You went from worst to playoffs last year.
Right.
You would think they would have some kind of, sense to sign him, but apparently not. So that I think wraps up the MLB. Some NBA news, but not too much. They did agree in principle to a 12/22 start date and a 72 game season.
That would
But
include Christmas Day games as well.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's like their bread and butter, right?
That's the
Right.
big money day.
Yeah, that's
I
like
mean,
what
And
they
everyone's
want.
sitting around with their family, eating food, unwrapping gifts, and you get to watch the NBA all day.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like NFL owns Thanksgiving. They
Right.
own.
NBA owns Christmas.
Yep.
But a December 22nd start, a May 16th end, and they want the finals to be over by July 22nd so that they have no competition with the Summer Olympics when they start.
On July 23rd. They're going right up against that.
Yeah,
game.
right to the
Want it
wire.
Right there, right down to the fucking wire. The nitty gritty.
Well, and like you guys said, it's all about the money. They're rumored to be about $500 million in that deal to make it so that the players and owners both agreed, listen, we need to do this sooner than
And
later. We need to
that-
not compete with the Olympics.
That money that they would be losing is a 50-50 split between the owners and the Players Association. So it's got equal amount of value on both ends for them to make a deal.
Yeah, I think they'll make a deal. They'll make it happen. It's just gonna be like tight as shit. Like I don't think they can afford a situation in which they don't make a deal. So like something's gonna get done.
Yeah.
Well, they agreed in principle to it. They just need to work out a couple of the financial decisions. They moved back the deadline already today. So, a deal is going to be imminent, it seems like.
Yeah, like they
It'll get
can't
done.
afford for like to not go down. So like it's gonna go down. It's just a matter of like how soon is it gonna happen, which I guess
And how close is the NHL now to finalizing all of their stuff?
it's like typical NHL shit. Like there is literally like no news. Like the NHL is so typical about like, you
They
think
always
yeah, like you think about like injuries, they'll be like it's upper body. It's like what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? Like that's so
Is it
fucked
his
up.
arm?
You know?
Is it his shoulder?
Yeah,
Is it his
right.
chest?
Is it his
Well,
soul? Like what the fuck does
Took a
that
peek
mean?
at it, and we decided it's just an upper body injury.
Like they're fucking famous for that shit. But I mean, I trust that they'll get something done. Like they handled the playoff bubble like so fucking well that like they'll get something done. I just who knows what it's gonna be. And just like the playoffs,
And it'll
like, they
probably
took their
just
time.
sneak up on you. They'll just one
Yeah.
day get a notification on your phone that they're starting
Exactly.
on this date. So.
Exactly. Like I'm
That's
gonna wake
how
up
you
and
have
it's
to
gonna be
show
like
up,
December 1st or fucking whatever. It's probably gonna be more like January, bro. So it'll probably be like a 40 game season. They'll probably like half the season or some shit, and then just do the playoffs. But whatever. We'll see what happens. I guess that brings us to the football.
Yeah. Hockey operates under the radar. Let's get to something that absolutely fucking does not.
Oh yeah, it does not give
Football
a
absolutely
fuck about
dominates
COVID.
television and the sports world every single weekend and into the week. And it started with Aaron Rodgers absolutely dismantling the 49ers on Thursday Night Football.
I mean, it was a big oof, bro. Like
He went
it was
25 from 31, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the 49ers just had absolutely zero answer for him or Devontae Adams.
Yeah, like I didn't even watch the whole fucking game. Like
Yeah,
I think
it
I
was-
watched
there's
like
no point.
15 minutes of it. Yeah, and that's exactly what I said to myself. I was like, why am I watching this right now? Like there's
Yeah.
literally no point. I'll just catch the fucking highlights tomorrow. Like it was
49ers returned no starters from the playoff game. They only ran for 55 yards. The Packers had the ball for 36 minutes and 30 seconds. It was just complete domination.
Yeah, just even
ridiculous.
watching it, you just felt that they were just overmatched.
They just weren't in it ever.
Yeah, I don't think they had a hope in hell, as they say.
You know who was in it? The Jaguars. Lutton in place of Minshew, my boy, comes in and brings Houston down to the wire in one of the games that nobody could really give a fuck about in the NFL this week.
Well, no one could give a fuck because Minshew wasn't there, and for some
Exactly.
reason,
He
he
draws
just
the
makes you
crowd.
want to watch the game.
Yeah. He does. He's a moneymaker.
Yeah,
you
for
see him
sure.
on the field. You see that mustache, the swagger. You just gotta watch.
The swagger.
He's like a southern Baker Mayfield with a mustache. I feel
Yeah.
like.
There you go. He's like a cooler Baker.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know, dude. Every time I watch the Texans, like, and they may not even be that bad, but every time I watch them, I'm like, this is just so fucking boring. Like, they're such a shit show. Like, that's just one man's opinion. I don't want to piss off the great state of Texas, but that's how I feel.
Well, you're not talking about the Cowboys, so you should be good there.
Fair enough.
But
We'll get to
I mean,
that
yeah,
eventually.
The Texans just don't do anything, and they should, because Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback,
Right.
but there's nothing there. They're just
I mean, there
not
was.
entertaining.
They had fucking Hopkins and they traded him for David Johnson, who had 2 carries today.
Yeah,
I mean,
super impactable running back. You always trade picks for those guys.
Picks and stars.
Oh,
Don't
my
forget.
God.
The Jaguars gave up 75 yards in penalties, but they only had 4 penalties.
Good
And
lord.
when you just shoot yourself in the foot like that constantly.
Yeah, I'm shocked they didn't try and push Watt out there for a second rounder. This team has no draft capital. That first round pick is going to Miami, which is why they're testing out Tua, which, I mean, Tua looked great.
Tua did look great. Tua went 20 of 28, 2 touchdowns, 248 yards. He carried the ball 7 times for 35 yards, which it's not substantial, but it's nice to see for a guy that had leg injuries in college.
End of the
And
day,
for them
he's
to
your
go-
quarterback. I don't know if you want him out there running all the time. I don't think that's
but like I said,
sustainable.
7 for 35, like just having the option if it's open is always an added benefit for an offense.
Oh, it's huge.
And
I
on the
mean, you've
other
seen it
end-
with Russ throughout the years. I mean,
Right.
you've seen him have the ability to diagnose the situation and escape. And I think Tua did that really well. You don't want to run too much. You don't want to depend on it. But if it's available, it's a dangerous weapon that your team possesses.
And Kyler had it. 11 carries, 106 yards on the ground. He had a touchdown to add on to it. Cardinals outgained Miami 442 to 312 and still lost. So I mean,
Yeah.
what does that tell you?
Yeah. And then there's the Chiefs-Panthers game, which I thought was a really good game. It was one of the better games of like that, I guess you want to call it block. You know?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
real
I mean,
tight, you know?
It
You,
was a
you
close
gotta
game.
love Matt Rule as a coach. This is what you
He's
want
looked
as a young
great.
franchise. You want a guy who doesn't throw out the, this isn't my team method, or, whatever the hell you throw out there. This guy just wants to win, and he coaches his team, and they're in every game.
And Brady
And
from
the-
LSU, the offense hasn't looked bad this season either with Bridgewater. And they had McCaffrey out for a while and still managed pretty well with Mike Davis.
Although I think that actually helped them. I think they were so dependent on McCaffrey before he went out, it kind of stalled their offense. They were so
Forced them to
involved
find
in
other
getting him
options.
the ball. The first few drives of this week looked so good because they used him in spots that they needed to use him in, but not for every single,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, like when
Right.
you have a really great player, they can sometimes like become a crutch because like the rest of the players don't have to elevate their game. You know what I mean? Where it's like once they're gone, like everyone kind of elevates their game a little bit, and then if you bring them back, it's like everyone's firing on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, McCaffrey did come back and do what everyone expects him to do. He had
Yeah.
150 plus all-purpose yards. He had 10 catches. He had 69 yards on the ground. He had a touchdown through the air and on the ground. Like I said to you guys off recording, if the Panthers had controlled the ball and kept time of possession in their favor, they'd be close in this game. And they had 17 minutes more time of possession than the Chiefs in that game. 38-21, and they led the whole first half.
Yeah. I mean, like the whole first half, I was like, oh shit, like
And
this might be
we were
the
talking
day.
about it. Like Hill and Mahomes just didn't look like they're on the same page in the first half.
Yeah,
but-
they don't. But if you look at the stats, like they fucking
right
definitely
they,
were.
they still just click, and he still gets 100 yards every game and a deep touchdown. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dude, the Chiefs are like,
unstoppable.
if you're in a boat and you're throwing chum off, there's going to be sharks in the water. Like,
Yeah.
they're coming at some
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
you see that lead that the Panthers had, and you're like, it doesn't matter to me. Like,
They're gonna flip.
they're
Yeah.
so good. And now, even on offense or on defense, they have enough to be able to stop someone when they need to. And that is what wins championships. Offense that puts up points, defenses that can get stops when they absolutely need to.
And they're gonna be right back in the conversation this year to repeat. because
Yeah, I
of
mean, I
those
think they're the
defense.
only team where everyone's no doubt they're going back because
Yeah.
throughout the league, you don't know who's for real,
I
who's not, what numbers are real, what not, what's not. It just there's a lot of
I
smoke
think
and
that
mirrors out
AFC
there.
Championship game could be Steelers Chiefs though, and that game could come down to the wire.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean that would be a great game from the looks of
Phenomenal
it.
game.
Yeah,
Great
for sure.
offense, best offense versus the best defense. It'd be something to see.
Yeah. And what about those Steelers beating the Cowboys? That was a hard get for them, right?
It shouldn't have been that hard if you really think about it.
That's why I'm laughing, because it really shouldn't be. It
Garrett
really shouldn't
Gilbert
be.
at quarterback. That sounds like a cartoon name. That sounds like a nerd in a cartoon that gets beat up by the bully and stuffed in the locker. That's Garrett Gilbert. He is not a
Oh my
starter.
god.
4:00 p.m. for the Dallas Cowboys against the 8-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. That's not Garrett Gilbert. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
his name does sound like fucking what's Kyle's cousin's name in South Park, and like, oh Kyle, that dude. Or
Oh,
like,
what the fuck is his name?
or somebody message me when we post this and tell me his name. Or the dude from Hey Arnold, the like mouth breather dude that's always like behind whatever her name is like
It's a throwback.
Olga?
yeah,
Always
Olga.
behind Olga.
Yeah. That's who that dude is for sure, like 100%. I mean, there are a bunch of games where like not a whole lot like really happened, like the Lions Vikings game, like whatever. But
That
then,
game was really not fun to watch. I mean, Dalvin
No.
Cook.
and
What Dalvin Cook does, he had 200 plus yards. The Vikings have won 3 straight despite starting 0-5. I mean, they're starting to put it together a little
it's
bit.
the
but
uniforms, bro. It's the
that
dope,
NFC
fresh
North
ass
is-
uniforms.
I'm not a fan of the Vikings, though.
I'm not either at all, but
I
those
just
uniforms are lit, man. Come on, you got to give it up for that.
They're unique.
Yeah, I like it when teams have different color uniforms. I mean, the Vikings look good. Chargers looked really good today.
Chargers look good every week. Those jerseys pop no matter what.
Yeah,
They're
dude.
so-
Yeah, they're
They
pretty
found
lit.
a way to lose in Chargers fashion, didn't they?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that. That's this is the way. Yeah, Bale.
Yeah,
Bale. That's my guy, but I just feel so bad for him because it's like you watch him play and he's playing, he looks good, he's got swagger and he's fucking throwing it down, and then at the end of every game there's just like the inevitable like sad boy shot of his face, just like oh, come on, man.
Just like we said with Daniel Jones, the sad boy shot.
Yeah,
just
dude, it's
hits.
inevitable like every fucking week.
Every single week, you're gonna get that one shot where you're just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and then I mean, other games that were I don't know, like the Bears Titans game, Bears tits, like that was like pretty uneventful for me. Didn't really, I was like
That
checked
one
out of that one pretty
was-
early.
Yeah, I mean, you had the complete opposite ends of the spectrum, though. Tannehill only threw 21
Right.
times. Foles threw 52. And Derrick Henry was held under 100 yards for the 4th time this year. The other defenses to do it besides the Bears were the Steelers, the Bills, and the Jaguars.
And then let's see, I mean Broncos Falcons. There was actually some cool shit that went down in that game though. Like I'll give it up. Like there were some long balls and it was pretty cool to watch. But I just don't really care about either of those teams. So
I don't particularly either.
It's like
But
I
their
mean-
defense is just constantly trying to keep them in the game.
Yeah.
Every single
True.
year.
Drew Lock is like Russell Wilson, where I swear to
Not
God,
in talent, dude. Are you kidding me?
I mean, no.
You
I
better
just
back
mean
this up with some info.
No, I just mean in the 4th quarter, it's almost like his coach goes, "Go out there and win the game," because this is the second time he's almost come back.
All right. Okay, fair.
I mean, I'm not saying he's like Russ.
He
Russ is the
looked
MVP.
horrible
Drew Lock's
in the
very
first
new.
half,
I
though.
get it, but I'm just saying in the manner where he's like, okay, you can go out there and try and win the game finally.
It's starting to look like him and Judy are getting on the same page. Before the injury, Judy had a 100-yard game, and now his second week back from the injury, Judy gets another 100-yard game. You gotta like to see that if you're a Broncos fan.
Yeah, and less drops this week. I feel like I didn't watch the whole game, but I know I've seen a couple drops and huge moments for Judy in the past few games. They didn't seem to be there this game.
I mean, it's just a shocker Atlanta didn't blow it.
Yeah,
they've
for
been
real.
absolutely cursed since 28-3. 28-2-3, sorry. but we killed them. They'll never be the same. That franchise is dead. They'll never win another title.
Speaking of
Actually, they'll never win a title because of the Falcons.
speaking of a dead
Jesus.
franchise, how about the Giants Washington football team game? I still can't get used to saying Washington football team, by the way. Like
Every single time I want to say it.
it's just like
Every single time.
and like when I do say it, like I want to be like Washington football team because it just sounds so fucking
sounds
stupid. Like
Every
it's
time,
so
like,
fucking stupid.
MLS has DC United. They don't have Washington Football Club. They get Washington Football Club. Washington Football Team sounds like you just gave up. You're
Yeah,
just
because like WFC
one
is not
take.
too bad. WFC is not too bad. Like you could actually like make some cool logos with that too. But like WFT, it just sounds like
awkward.
it's like a dyslexic person was trying to say like what the fuck and ended up saying like what fucked up. You know what I mean?
It just sounds wrong when you hear it.
Also, you want to just confuse the shit out of anyone who came from England or Europe anywhere. Like, wait, Washington Football Club? What? What?
Yeah, I mean, you would probably stop getting some hate from the soccer fans because they love to hate on football, you know?
Yeah, they'd be like, we have a team. And then the Redskins would actually have a fan.
Yeah. Oh, brutal. Brutal like that fucking injury, dude. That shit was brutal, bro. Like, it was brutal. Like, it doesn't.
Redskins are cursed to have just absolutely gruesome quarterback leg injuries.
Yeah, like,
They'll-
I don't know. Like, it didn't look as
50-50
bad.
They come back. Theismann was done, and Alex Smith played today. So I don't know. Kyle Allen, best wishes. Hope you
Like,
see- hope
It
you
didn't
see
look as like graphic as the like
No.
Prescott injury,
There wasn't.
but like if you pay attention
to
and like
that.
if you've ever had like a fucking knee injury, like that shit is like
And just,
you know how much it hurts, and like
just the way the defender flew in there, I was like, ugh.
yeah, it
Oh,
looked like a
no,
rough
that's
hit
me.
to begin with.
Yeah.
But then like when we were watching the games earlier, they tried to say it was like just a dislocated ankle or some shit, and I was like, bullshit. His
He
ankle
hit
might
his
be
ankle.
dislocated, but that fucking knee is destroyed, bro.
Well,
Like that
they
shit is
said his
blown out.
ankle. They said his ankle moved the wrong way. When I saw the replay, I was like, no, that's an
What about his
ACL,
knee?
MCL thing. right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
What is
bro.
he?
That's some bullshit if I've ever
Yeah,
heard
no,
it.
his knee went the wrong way.
Yeah,
That's
his
not great.
entire fucking leg, dude. Like
Yeah.
it like goes like limp halfway through it, and I was just like, oh my god. Like that kind of shit happened to me when I, was a kid playing hockey and shit, and like my knee's still fucked up, but I'm not a professional athlete. I'm just saying, like, I know what it looks like when your leg goes away. It's not supposed to fucking go, and I know what it does, and it ain't just a dislocated ankle. So like, you can fuck off with that shit like right now. Like you ain't telling the truth.
Dr.
Or-
Peter Piku the gutter boy over here, apparently.
That's right. Yeah, I'm a doctor, and I'm telling you that knee is fucked.
Paging Dr. Spacklin.
Bert Spacklin, MD.
If that guy was coming in to perform surgery on me, I'd be like, can we get a different doctor?
Good. I'm good.
Good. I think
I'll
I'm
let it
just gonna
heal
go
naturally,
home.
thanks.
Yeah. I think you know what? It's feeling better.
What do you mean? I'd be a great doctor.
Not with that name, dude. Come on. I love you, but come on.
All right. Fair
Alex
enough.
Smith
fair
came into
enough.
that game after Kyle Allen left and threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that was
To the
super tough,
Giants.
dude. Because they almost clawed their way back. Because in the first like, it might have even been in the first quarter. I was like, no way, Washington football team is gonna win this game. Like, there's just no fucking way. And like all of a sudden you look and it's like 23-20 or some shit like that. And then he just throws back-to-back interceptions. Like he threw one, and then
They got the ball
they
back.
got the ball back, and then he threw another one.
If I thought anyone in that game was gonna pull that shit, I thought it'd be Daniel Jones. But he didn't even have a turnover today.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
no
thank
sad
God we-
boy shots for Daniel Jones, that's for sure.
No kidding. This guy is a turnover machine and did not do it today. You like to see that turnaround if you're a Giants fan. I mean, I don't know who is a Giants fan, but if you are, then you
Yeah.
like to see that.
Yeah, I
They
don't-
were around for a little bit when they beat us when we were gonna be undefeated.
You
They
mean
came
they
out-
beat, they beat you twice?
Yeah,
Hey,
I remember.
they were still around for the first one though. They stuck
two
around
rings?
for like 4 years. And they're like, we beat the Patriots. Let's see what these Giants can do. And then they beat us again. And they're like, oh shit, Eli Manning's great. And then
Well, then they were like, we should get rid of Coughlin for this clown. I
that
can't
was
even
really
remember.
the downfall. The
Yeah,
fuck was that guy's name?
I don't even know, but
Hold,
I
I'm on it.
haven't
Keep
seen him on any
talking.
sideline.
I know. I can see his face. I
And
can
they
see
were
his
so
fucking
quick to
face.
usher Tom Coughlin out of
McAdoo.
town too. They were like, I think it's best we move on. Ben McAdoo.
I got it.
There we go.
Pulled that
Yeah.
shit.
Glad that guy ushered out the Tom Coughlin era in New York. It's been great since.
Which ushered in Saxonville and Jacksonville, which is already over.
Saxonville and Jacksonville is fun to say though, bro.
It
Come
came
on.
as quick as it went.
And it is gone as quick as it appeared.
It took every inch of restraint not to make a joke about Meech's mom when you said that. Like every inch of
Wow.
restraint. So I mean,
Wow.
listen, in therapy we call that progress, bro.
Good for you. Good for you making
Thanks.
progress.
I'm working on me, man. I'm working on me, you know? I'm
I'm
working on
happy
me.
we
It's-
can be here for your progress.
Anyway, back to football.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, we get off topic so quickly here.
Hey man, it was just turned into a little bro session. for a
Yeah,
minute.
come on, man. This is supposed to be a love circle, man. You're always trying to
Little
make it a
bro
hate circle,
jam
bro.
session.
I mean,
I gotta make
there's
up
not
the
much
fucking
else
love.
to talk about as far as like, you know, game recaps go. There's the Ravens Colts game, which I'm sure Double has a lot to say about for some reason, which I can't understand, but you know, I know my guy.
The Ravens Colts game was a tough one for me because I was absolutely certain the Colts were gonna win that game.
Explain, because I was not, and I would love to know why you think that.
Well, the Ravens had a lot of people out with COVID in the middle of the week. Like Humphrey wasn't supposed to play. There was a bunch of positive tests, and I saw Jackson not throw 4 turnovers, but have 4 turnovers the previous week, and I don't know. I was feeling like Indiana could pull it off, and they went out there and laid a fucking egg. Phillip Rivers went 25 of 43 for 227 and a pick. The defense looked great in the first half. They stopped Lamar Jackson, and then in the second half, they just forgot how to do anything unless your name's Darius Leonard. And the Colts got blanked in the second half. It was 10-7 at halftime, or did the Ravens take the lead before the half?
I don't even remember what the score was at halftime. I was kind of
I
checked
want
out
to
of
say
that
it
game,
was
to be honest,
10-7
too.
Indiana, and then
10-7
final,
sounds about right. It wasn't
Yeah.
out of hand for sure.
right, and then the final was 24-10. The Colts just got planked in the second.
Yeah,
second
yeah,
half.
because I remember when we were watching the game, like at one point, like full disclosure, we were playing Apex while we were watching the games, and Double at one point goes, "Yo, dude, like they haven't scored in the second half," and I was just like, "What?"
They fucking just got blanked, dude. Like they look
Like that's
like
fucking
a
crazy.
well-oiled machine in the first half, but they looked like they could do something against the Ravens.
Right?
defense.
Yeah, they didn't look terrible. They just didn't look great.
That poses a question that I want to ask you guys: is if you're Indiana and you're spending a first-round pick this year on either a quarterback or a wide receiver, which one do you prioritize?
I mean, T.Y. Hilton's a joke as a receiver. As a number one receiver, he just has
That's
not
what I'm
showed
saying.
up.
He hasn't
Yeah,
done anything.
that's-
lately.
that's-
I
that's what I
actually
was
got
gonna
into an
say.
argument with some guy on fucking YouTube of all places this week. T.Y. Hilton.
I was expecting you to say Twitter, and then you said YouTube.
Yeah, dude, I was fucking deep in my shit. I don't even know what fucking video it was on, but it was something about Devontae Adams,
Mhm.
and he was trying to say that T.Y. Hilton was better than Devontae Adams, and I got in a whole argument with him. And I was like, "Where the fuck has T.Y. Hilton been the last 4 years?"
How long did the
Yeah, he
argument
just
go on
hasn't-
for?
He hasn't
not
been there.
That I had one long message, he answered. I had another long message, and then I got nothing back. So not long.
I was just hoping you would be like, "Oh, it was like 6 a.m. when I finally said fuck this."
No, he wanted no part of me. He probably realized that he did not want that.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
my answer is
realize
the same
what's
as Meech.
wrong. Like T.Y. Hilton has not fulfilled expectations in the slightest. That being said, to answer your original question,
right.
you got to go quarterback. Philly Ribs is not. He's
So
he's
you don't
not
think
there
if he-
anymore.
if he can go another year, you
That's a
don't
good
think
point.
they Resign him.
No,
Like, if he
I
doesn't
think
retire?
they need to move on and find their next quarterback, man.
I think
That's
that's
a-
I don't.
that's a
Andrew
good
Luck's
point.
not going to walk through that door.
Yeah, Absolutely not, dude. Andrew Luck's not walking through that door. Philip Rivers is walking through the door the other way.
10%
And
not the answer.
yeah, like you gotta figure it. That is the most important position in basically all of sports, honestly. The quarterback plays such a pivotal role.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, you gotta get one.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I mean, my original answer was gonna be wide receiver because I just always feel like comfortable with it, like it's a safe pick. But you're absolutely right. Like given their situation, like that's what they have to do. Like I don't see how you have a another decision to make there. But then again, I've seen dumber decisions made in my lifetime.
Blake
Chris
Snell.
Ballard is
Exactly.
a
That's what I was getting
solid
at.
GM. I don't know if he's gonna make that
Dude,
mistake.
but sometimes that shit happens, dude. Like you have really good general managers that like they just get hosed. Like they either hose themselves or like, someone comes along and just like pisses on their forehead. I don't know.
Ballard
like,
is
shit just
great, but
happens.
the Andrew Luck retirement threw a huge wrench in his plans.
Oh, absolutely. He built a beautiful wall in front of Andrew Luck
Yeah.
so that he doesn't get injured anymore. And then all of a sudden he's gone. Bye.
Yep. You're Chris Ballard and that happens. You got to go back to the room, the war room, get everyone out, lock the doors, and just be like, fuck.
Yeah. Just one really loud
Yeah.
yell of fuck.
And then he just regains his composure and unlocks the door and walks back out. But yeah, that's the only way I would have been able to cope with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was an unfortunate situation. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You know who I'm waiting to get picked up as a GM somewhere? John Dorsey. He got ushered out of the Browns organization so quickly. He did a good job while he was there. I honestly think that he did a good
don't
job.
like
He
his
made one
face.
mistake hiring Freddie Kitchens, but
I don't like his face.
I don't. I can't. I don't know.
I totally get it. What's the fucking Jets coach's name? What's that
Adam
fucker's name?
Gase,
Adam
fucking-
Gase. I fucking hate that dude's face.
Good
He
old
looks like a
Coke
fucking
Eyes McGee.
yeah. He looks like a fucking like active shooter, bro. Like he just looks fucking insane to me, man. Like,
Jesus.
yeah, sorry, that was real dark. I apologize. I really do. Don't hate me for that one, but like.
He does though.
He does though, right? Like I'm not crazy. Like I look at that guy and
He
I'm
looks
like, yo,
like
like we need to do background
he looks
checks on
like he's
him. We need to
just
take away
about to
his
snap.
guns for sure. Like we need to take away his guns for sure, dude. Like
You pull a rubber band back as far as it's about to go, and you're like, if I pull more, is it gonna snap? That's Adam Gase. He's right there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy as shit. Well, I mean, we got one more game to talk about. I guess save the best for last, right? Which is the Seahawks Bills game. And that was quite a game.
It was. The Bills were laying it on the Seahawks in the first half.
Yeah, like good God Almighty.
Yeah, like we said earlier, we were playing video games, just talking, watching the games, and every few seconds, Bernie was like, "Oh God, oh God." The Bills are just laying it on the Seahawks defense. Which, before we get into any stats here, does that begs the question: is the Seahawks defense good enough to get them to the NFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl?
Well, it's funny because I'm taking notes halfway through that game, and I was watching Red Zone, so I was kind of bouncing around, but
Me
it was
too.
on that game a lot just because of the fantasy impact, and it was just a genuinely good game.
Yeah, and there was a
The
lot
Bills are-
happening,
Yeah, the Bills were giving it to
High
them at first.
action.
The Seahawks came back, and but yeah, halfway through that, I wrote after they had not given up a touchdown and then gotten even. I wrote, oh, maybe the Seahawks defense with Adams back and Dunlap acquired from Cincinnati is exactly what they need, which we talked about earlier with the Chiefs, is a defense that will stop when it needs a crucial stop. And then they fell apart.
And the collapse.
Yeah.
Cue the collapse.
Yeah. And I mean, like, your boy Russell Wilson got, like, beat up in
Beat
that game.
the
bro.
fuck up. He had 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
Four turnovers. I think he got hit 16 plus times. I mean,
Oh,
he
Jesus
God.
Christ.
yeah.
And that was Russell Wilson. They also had absolutely zero run game without Chris Carson. They
Yeah,
had,
Chris
like-
Carson gone, and Carlos Hyde is really killing this offense right now because
the Bills and the Seahawks combined had under 100 yards rushing.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
and
that
they were giving it to Homer. He just didn't do anything.
No.
Dude, that
And they gave it
last
to,
hit on him was so brutal. I know I keep bringing it up, but like if you go watch it,
was
like I
bad.
mean, he just fucking
got
destroyed him, dude, and took the ball from him too. Like
Yeah, he's also like, give me that shit. I'm going the other way.
yeah, like he was just like fuck you. Like that was rough, dude. It was
He
tough
did
to watch.
everything but
Big
teabag
oof.
him, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened. It was a tough game, and I'm no Bills fan, like at all. Like I'm not really
Allen
a
looked-
Seahawks fan either. But
Allen
you
looks
know.
like he bounced back though. He's had a couple of down games the last few weeks and came back with 31 of 38 for 415, 3 touchdowns, and 1 on the ground. And he got the job done.
For sure, for sure. Well, I guess that's really all there is to talk about, unless you boys have anything else you want to discuss, any sort of nonsense or anything like that.
I mean,
Well, I mean, we're shooting this while the Sunday night football game
Yeah.
is going on. New Orleans up 7-0 on the Bucks. It'll be interesting to see who wins this game.
yeah, I mean, Brady lost week 1, but you got to think he's got more of a repertoire with his weapons. He's picked up more weapons since then. I think the Bucks are going to win this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think the last time they met, the Saints won, right? Didn't they win
They
the
did
first
week
game?
1, yeah.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones has started to come into his own for Tampa Bay since then, and they really didn't have a run game in week 1. It was really just all on Brady.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And
One
wait,
of the
isn't
shining
this
moments of my fantasy season trading that man away after they got Fournette. But, you
isn't
know,
Antonio Brown? This is his like debut with them, right?
Yep.
Has he done anything yet? Like, do you have a stat line on that?
I mean, he hasn't been cut, so I guess he hasn't done anything yet.
Jesus.
All right, fair enough. Do you have a stat line on him yet? Like, can you Google that?
No.
Like, I'll put some intermission music in here, like do 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 do.
Oh, while you're doing that, why don't you shout out Alex Trebek?
Yeah, yeah. R.I.P. Bro. Like resting in peace. Like a living legend. It's a sad day for America, even though I think he's Canadian.
Do we want to do a background check on that too?
Yeah, we could do a background check on that too. That's fine. Anything else we want to
Okay,
talk
Brown
about,
gets
boys?
Back, he's wearing number 81, and he's got no catches.
No catches. Nothing
I don't
at
think
all.
he's taken a snap yet.
How far into the game are we? We can't be but so far into it though. That's the thing.
Coach Bruce Arians says Brown could be on the field for as little as 10 snaps.
I mean, right now we're at 425 in the first quarter, so I'm guessing they just haven't had success on offense.
Yeah.
One player on the team put the potential range at 25 to 30 snaps for Brown. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's more than I thought he'd have.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, we'll see what happens and we'll recap it on Friday's show, right?
Absolutely. I want to talk briefly about the Clemson Notre Dame game as well.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead, bro. Floor is yours.
Trevor Lawrence out for the second week in a row. Notre Dame defeats Clemson 47-40 in double OT. Notre Dame remains undefeated at 7-0. Clemson suffers their first loss. Freshman quarterback DJ Ukulele. Think I got that right?
That's
Oh
not
no, it's Hawaiian. Something. Don't know.
That's not how you say that.
That's not how you say that. I'm
Would
pretty
you like-
sure it's not
would you like to
ukulele.
educate me? I
Yeah.
said
Take
ukulele.
Yeah, you
There's
take
a G.
take a whack at it, Meeks.
There's a
Let's hear
G.
you take a
I
whack
think
at
it's
it.
ukulele or something like that.
Say that
Ukulele.
again?
Yeah, it's something like it's closer to that than ukulele. I know that.
I said ukulele, like Yugoslavia, or you go fuck yourself.
Wow, rude.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they win this game if Trevor Lawrence is in there for sure.
I don't know
you
either.
gotta
Also,
think-
Notre Dame held Etienne to 28 yards on the ground, and Ian Book absolutely raised his draft stock. He knocked off Clemson. He had 300 yards to the ground, almost 75. 300 yards to the air, almost 75 on the ground, and 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
Yeesh.
and then the only other game I want to talk about really is Michigan losing to Indiana. The Hoosiers basketball team, apparently. Jesus, Michigan. Is it time to move on from
Who do you
the
get, though?
beloved alum Harbaugh?
Who do you get though?
That's a fair question. Who do you
I
get?
don't know, but you got to think
You're not
he's
getting
looking.
Urban Meyer.
Oh, no, and USC should go after Urban Meyer because I mean the Pac-12 is basically irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, Urban Meyer would make the Pac-12 relevant again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, But you got to look at, he's got to be looking like, I left the NFL for this. Like, I have to recruit now. I have to deal with this crap. It's not what I thought it was going to be.
Like, I was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was in the Super Bowl before he got fired. I mean, what is going on?
I'm about to go fucking 2-6 at Michigan. Why the fuck am I here?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
I'm with you on that one. But if you're Michigan, I don't know. I feel like he'd have to resign. I don't think Michigan's going to fire him.
Well, I think it should be a handshake. It should be an actual mutual parting. Is what
if he is
like.
If he is going to resign, it's going to be both parties involved in it. It's not just
I mean, I think
they're not going to be like, please stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I drew up the paperwork for you right here. Here,
I actually had a copy in my back pocket. If you just want to sign it. It's actually coming down here to talk to you about that myself.
I have Meech's mom in my back pocket. And with that, I think we can end the show. So thanks for listening. We'll be back next Friday with another episode. It'll be a little shorter than this one. We're going to try to do 2 a week. And just follow us on all social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I don't think we're on Facebook because who the fuck cares about Facebook nowadays? It's all Stone Sports Podcast. I think the Twitter is a capital letter at each word, right, Dubs?
That is correct, and I believe the Twitch is that as well.
Oh, yeah, and Twitch, too, which we're going to be putting some videos up on very soon. Any last words from the boys?
I feel like Meech just needs to say something instead of just getting shunned and shut down like Birdie. like Birdie just did to him.
I mean, I had to do it to him. Gotta do
it was rude. It was rude. Go Dodgers, go Lakers, Titletown, USA.
Lakers,
That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Fuck LA, Boston.
All right, let's go Mets. I'm in love with Meech's mom.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.